So the building use that on. The building itself.
So that's another
Foundation. I can't answer that.
Good evening, I call the Committee of Adjustment to order. Can I have a confirmation of the agenda that the Committee of Adjustment hereby accept the agenda for the November 18th, 2019 hearing as presented? Do I have a mover? Nita and Rick seconds, all in favor? Carries. Declaration of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, we shall move on. Approval of previous meetings, there are none. Statement of percent that any decision reached by this committee tonight cannot be used to set precedent. Sorry, folks. Number 6, scheduled applications. 6.1, file number MV07-2019, location 766 Queen Street, Blythe Ward. The applicants are Doug Campbell and Diamond Concrete Inc. Monica, could you slip up here and have a little chit chat with us?
Certainly. Okay, so this is an application for minor variance. As the REIT has said, the location is on the north end of Blythe along the highway. The address is 766 Queen Street. The application is to there's a proposed development for this property to create 2 self-storage buildings. And when the applicants were reviewing the requirements of the zoning bylaw, it was discovered that because there's an unopened road allowance to the north, that requires a setback of 7.5 meters. They were asking for a minor variance to bring that down to 4.5 meters. So a reduction of 3 meters from the unopened road allowance. So on the screen there you can see the aerial view of the subject property. And this is what it looks in today's snowy conditions. What had happened is that the applicants had seen me, and they had previously consulted with planning department staff and some staff from North Huron to discuss what they were proposing for the property. And this issue of the road allowance that's to the north had come up in the discussions, and at one point they were considering buying the unopened road allowance, but realized that that would be quite a lengthy and involved process. And so the option to apply for this minor variance ended up being the route that they wanted to go. In processing this minor variance application, I've been receiving comments from staff, and it was actually my recommendation that the applicants should apply for this minor variance before they apply for their site plan approval. But in reviewing the minor variance, there's quite a bit of questions about the final layout for the property that really can only be answered after we have a site plan to review. So in talking to the applicants today, they have agreed that that they would be willing to defer this application and instead move forward with their site plan approval application and then come back to the minor variance. The reason why they're thinking that they would like to defer this application is some of the comments that were recently received in review of this have revealed that the setback from the south property line is also going to be deficient if they follow with their current plans. So there's always the opportunity to amend their plans, but they'd like to pursue the size and orientation of the buildings that they have proposed, but they know that 1 or perhaps 2 minor variances are going to be required for that. So at this point, the department's recommendation is actually to defer this minor variance to allow the applicants to complete their site plan, to submit that with an application fee and have that reviewed. And then in that case, if there's any further variances that are identified, they would have the opportunity to include that in this minor variance application. So, without going into a lot of further detail on our department's recommendation on the variance itself, it would be our recommendation at this point to defer this application until such time as the applicants have completed their detailed site plan and that's been reviewed by staff.
Thank you, Monica. Gotta go through the whole thing? Okay, yeah. So 6.1.2, opportunity to comment on application by applicant or the agent. Would anybody like to say anything at this time, just later probably?
The only thing I would like to add, Monica, was that we still would like to pursue buying that road allowance.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
It was just a long time frame, so we did choose to apply for the minor variance in the interim.
okay, thank you very kindly. If you don't mind, just your name for the
Sorry,
record.
Vicky Campbell.
Thank you very kindly. Gonna move on to, is there anything else? Oh, okay, so we're gonna move on to 6.1.3, opportunity to comment by others in attendance, and I'm not seeing any others in attendance. 6.1.4, opportunity for questions, comments by committee of the adjustment members. Would the committee members like to ask any questions at this time? Kevin, go ahead.
Through your, Vivian, is this gonna be a secure facility, like a fenced facility? Gated in?
In the future, yes.
Is it going to be outdoor storage?
That's what this adjacent property would be.
Possibly, if we owned it.
To the north?
Yes.
Uh,
As of right now, no outside storage in this parcel.
Just all had, other than just the proximity to the new residential, people's backyards. Whether there would be a fence, that's all. That's all I think.
Oh, there was a tree line proposed by Blue Land.
Did you want to speak to that too, Monica?
Oh, just that kind of highlights the point that I was making earlier, that these good people have asked me for some advice about what process they should go through. And usually we start with the more general, moving down to the specifics. So something like a variance to zoning would be more general, and then the site plan would be more specific. But issues such as like the tree line, those aren't currently identified on the initial sketches that were provided with the variance, but those types of more intricate details are currently being worked out with the applicant's engineer.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons why we think with more information coming forward in the site plan application process, we can get that fine detail that will help inform the minor variance.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Go ahead, Nita.
Ja, die Unopend Road allowance is the word in yellow, north of
Yes,
the
so,
long narrow strip.
yes. So that's right on the border in between North Huron and Morris Turnberry, and half of it is controlled by North Huron and half of it by Morris Turnberry, and it would have been considered as a possible inroad off of the highway to development in behind. But now that we have other roads that access the Rutledge subdivision, this access road has less value. But if, it would have to be reviewed if the request is coming forward for that to be acquired.
Other questions or comments? Seeing none, we shall move on. 6.1.5, summary comments and recommendations of the Huron County Planning and Development Department, please.
So our recommendation is also deferral, because we feel that that's going to give the best outcome for both the applicant and the best opportunity for review. So we recommend that it be deferred until such time as the applicants come forward with their site plan application.
So I'll read the motion. That the Committee of Adjustment hereby approve deferral, hereby deferred? That's it? Yeah. So the minor variance application is being deferred. Do I have a mover? I have Trevor. Do I have a seconder? I have Paul. Any more questions or comments? Seeing none, I call the vote. All in favor? Passes. And we don't have to do the file check then, do we? Monica, tonight?
Well, I have it on your screen, and Carson and I just had a quick discussion about whether this is valuable. I think it is valuable to do it. If you were going to pass a motion, I would say that the effective agency comments to recommend, so item 6, I'm an agency as the county, so agency comments were received on the issue of deferral from or more information. The effective which influenced the decision of council to defer the application.
I'm not sure.
I would suggest that would be the motion that you could pass.
Somebody like to make that a motion? Anita will, seconder, Paul, questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Passes. Reminder of the appeal period. Minor variance procedures following a public meeting. The Secretary Treasurer sends within 10 days a certified copy of the decision indicating the last day of appealing to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, LPAT, to the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, if requested, each person who appeared in person or by counsel at the hearing and who filed with the Secretary Treasurer a written request for notification of the decision. If no appeal lodged after 20 days, objection period has expired and no appeal has been lodged, the decision of the committee adjustment is final and binding. The Secretary Treasurer shall notify the applicant. If a notice of appeal is lodged within 20 days of the committee of adjustment making a decision, an appeal is lodged with the Secretary Treasurer outlining the reasons for such an appeal, and said appeal is accompanied by the required fee of $300, the committee of adjustment no longer retains jurisdiction over the application. If a proper appeal is lodged, the Secretary Treasurer is required to provide proper notice to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, LPAT. Adjournment, that there being no further business before the committee of adjustment, the public hearing is hereby adjourned at 5:45. Do I have a mover? I have Rick, do I have a seconder? I have Chris, all in favor? Carries, thank you.
And Mr. Reed, if I could just add something to that statement that you just read about appeals?
Yes.
Thank you. At this time, because the application was deferred, there's only one body that could appeal, and that's the applicants.
Okay.
They could appeal a lack of a decision. There's a time frame after which they can appeal a lack of decision. So the application was received on October 30th. So after 120 days, I think it is, have elapsed, then they could appeal a lack of decision. But we don't expect that that's going to happen.
No. Everything's good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll walk out.
As soon as you have sizes and pricing, let me know, man. Broad color.